Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and we are here in lovely central New York. A little bit of editorial comment there. A few dealers around over here for the Madison Bouckville show. Came on up over here from Rochester. Local Mike was able to find me a different route to get up here, so I should be saving some time in the fall when I come back up. Definitely do check them out. They got a show every August, and this is the Baby Bouck, the smaller show that they have. But there's still going to be plenty of dealers. Try to get you a whole bunch of video from the show, as well as hopefully some great things that I bought. So definitely do stay tuned. Got a little change in my pocket going jing-a-ling-a-ling, and hopefully be able to convert that into some great things to make money on. And at the very least, get some great views of the great items people have up here. Could I say great anymore? Probably not. We'll see you shortly. And we've got some great views right over here of the show. Now, these are fields. There are, oh gosh, a fair number of fields, and that's my beautiful finger in there. But you can see from Superman. Boy, I got to learn how to carry this camera a little bit better. Superman, you see, people got things that are on the ground. I wanted to tell anybody out there that does sell for a living, put something down before you put it on the ground. Luckily, this is a dry period of time. But a lot of times, if the ground gets wet, it's going to come up into the box. And as somebody that does paper, you don't want to know how many times I found something at the bottom of the box that was halfway decent, and it ended up being ruined. But they got lots and lots of just things. And this is just one part of one field, as you can see. And again, there had to be 5 or 6 fields and a couple of tents. For a June show, it was actually had a lot more people than usual. And the crazy thing is, this is only half the town. When they have the show in August, both halves of the town are filled up with people. Taking a quick little walk through the tent over here, just kind of giving you an idea of just the various things here. Now, obviously, I didn't stop on any of these things over here. Sorry for the choppy camera work, but I had to get around a few different people over there. And I guess I do go at a fairly rapid clip as I walk through, as I now notice. But like I said, you got toys, you got all kinds of things there. You got advertising things. There's definitely something there for everybody. And I did fairly well in this show as far as things I ended up buying, as you'll see there at the end. Look at that. Nice chewing gum thing there. You got the lacrosse thing there. Just clocks. So something for everybody. And then what some of the dealers do, which you might have seen right over there too, is they do set up outside of the tent as well. So they kind of overextend their area a little bit. Now we're going along, well, the road is right there. There's like a side road. And then this is just all into a really, really good sized field. Here's the crazy thing. People are already shutting down. And this was taken at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And people were already shutting down. It's supposed to stay until 6 o'clock. And one person was shut down already. Just a lot of great stuff here. So definitely do check it out if you're in the area. Like I said, Madison Bouckville is where it's at. They have the June show, and this June show is a lot bigger than previous ones. Whoa, I'm getting a little dizzy right there. Sorry about that. And then they've got the August one, which, believe it or not, people start setting up the Sunday before. So it ends up being an 8-day show. Now, a lot of the dealers at this, when I was talking to them, said they were doing okay. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. There just weren't the crowds that there usually are, even though it's a June show. By early afternoon, pretty much nobody was there, as you can see. I mean, you could throw something down the middle there and not hit anybody, unfortunately. And every dealer that I talked to, okay was about the best any of them said that they were doing. So definitely was probably a lot of Griswold pans there as well. So definitely you come to these things. Another little insider tip, start talking to the dealers. Just any dealer you know, any dealer you're looking at their stuff, ask them how they're doing. Most of the time they'll be fairly honest with you. And they'll tell you, and there's some more as we're walking through a field, just more like a little spur of the field. But like I said, they'll be honest with you. And when you start hearing dealer after dealer saying things are going slow, I don't want to say to be a shark in the water, but almost be a shark in the water because, they're looking to make deals at that point. And there the stuff is there on the outside. And I do want to thank, when we get under the tent shortly, I do want to thank local Mike because he ended up doing a much better job of videoing than me. I'm very herky-jerky, and I do apologize. I think part of it is I'm trying to check out to see if I missed anything on my first time through. And the funny thing is, as a matter of fact, I did. Now, this is Local Mike doing it, as you just saw me walking up there ahead. Why, right there I am, carrying a bag, taking a little shortcut. And again, thank you to Local Mike. He does a much better job, as does Mrs. Papergoy when she's with me. Now we're going to go underneath the main tent. There are 2 main tents here. Got a lot of stuff over here. Now you are going to pay a little more as a general rule underneath the main tent because these do cost the dealers a little bit more money to set up in here. That being said, they're protected from the elements and everybody finds their way to the main tent. If it's super hot, they find their way here. Or if it's rainy, they find their way there. So even right there, you can see me doing quick little looks through saying, what's over here? What's over here? What's over here? As Local Mike is stuck behind me doing the videography. Did a great job though. But as you can see, you got jewelry, you got something for everybody there. So definitely do check it out if you haven't already. I don't think the fire extinguisher was for sale though. I think I pointed, I definitely wanted him to get a picture of those. I thought those were really, really cool right over there. And there was 1 or 2 other things that I point out going through. So you got furniture, you got everything that you could possibly want. So we'll just let the thing move a couple of more minutes here. Hopefully you see some really good treasures here that'll drive you to come on out in the August show, which is even bigger. And a lot of the same dealers, and this is very important to know too when you're at these shows, a lot of the same dealers set up at the same spots. Look at that. How cool is that right there? So if you find a dealer that you work well with, odds are they're going to be in the same spot the next time as well. And always do comment to them that, oh yeah, hey, I bought from you last time. And they'll end up giving you better deals as well. Especially after a while, they do recognize you and say, oh yeah, I remember this guy. Yeah, look at that Coca-Cola. Just so many neat things over here. A lot of jewelry underneath here, which obviously I walked right by. I honestly only bought from 2 or 3 dealers underneath the tent. Most of my stuff was bought outside, but that's because I deal in just oddball old paper, which a lot of the dealers don't tend to showcase. Look at that. I mean, anything you possibly want. A lot of knives right there, axes. And I don't know the first thing about those things. Those could be great deals, terrible deals. But that's where there's something there for everybody. And as you can see, it's a pretty long tent. And there are 2 of these side by side, and then there's 2 in a row as well. So it ends up being 4 tents total over there. Just a few more great things over here. A few more seconds here of clips. Let me know if you see something you want. I'll pick it up for you in August. Oh, there you go. Good housekeeping prevents fires. Was true, still is true. And thank you, Local Mike. You did a wonderful job here. Much better job than me. Nobody is seasick from your video, unlike when I took it. Yeah, a lot of jewelry, as you can see over here. A lot of jewelry. So thanks for being with me here on the journey. And I did pick up a lot of treasures. And we are going to jump right over to my house here in a couple of seconds for the usual deep dive and some snacks there for you, too, for coming along with me on the trip. So join me in the house and look at the wonderful things that I bought. Thanks, Local Mike. And we are back. Got a bit of a sunburn. I know I've told you in the past to definitely make sure you wear sunscreen or a hat. And I don't take my own advice. And I am feeling it today. One slight problem. There weren't that many vendors up there that were selling beverages, so it was actually rather difficult to find water. A lot more difficult than it is at the other show. I actually felt like I was getting heat stroke at one point. Luckily, I was able to find some water and was able to drink it. Always make sure you're properly hydrated. The August show is a big show. In the past, I've gone to the June show, and it's been subpar. That was not the case yesterday. There were a lot of dealers there. There were more dealers than there had been in the previous June by far. I was talking to a number of the dealers, and they were saying that they'd never done the June show before, but they decided they wanted to. And very happy that they did. I ended up spending $618 on stuff. And you need to, and Mrs. Papergoy just gave me the look because she said, you spent what? The other thing you need to know, get the pulse of the show. And this was an interesting show in that a lot of the dealers were just looking to wholesale stuff out.
One gentleman, I piled stuff up that came up to $700, his list price, and he said, "Can you do $250?" I bought from her a little earlier in the day, and he gave me a good break, and so I said, "Yeah, I can do $250 for $700 worth of stuff." Another dealer had come in and did house clean outs, and I piled paper up about this high on his table, and I said, "What do I owe you?" And he goes, "That looks to be about $100." And I started laughing because that's exactly what I was thinking. And another dealer, shout out, might be watching this video because they actually have watched our videos in the past, so that's great. I piled a whole bunch of paper together. We were talking for a little while, and then she said, "I don't feel like going through that stack of paper you got there. Let's make it $100." And I said, "That's more than fair." So it was a buy bulk show. Sometimes when you're in those situations, you got to be willing to buy bulk. One thing that I ended up buying, the gentleman had these up over there, and these are great little digests. He wanted $5 each. He called them adult digests. They're not adult. They're pinup is what they are. And they're fair, well, that one has no cover, but other than that, they're fairly high grade on these over here, and they will sell. You just need to go through them and see who's featured inside, and you'll be able to sell these things. The reason why I ended up buying the entire box was, when I started going through it, I saw these two there, and both of these, if you see here, has Marilyn Monroe referenced on the cover. Now, given that these are sitting in here at $5 a piece, that means these have not been picked through. So kind of read the room in that case. These have Marilyn Monroe still out there. Who knows what might be in these other ones? Nobody has taken the good ones out. I said to the gentleman, "What do you need for the whole box?" He counted them up. There were 40 of them. He goes, about $1.50. I go, "I was more at $1.20." He goes, "How about $1.25?" I said, "That works." So I ended up getting these for just over $3 a piece. They will sell. And again, two of them Marilyn Monroe. I know they're unpicked. Let's see what other great treasures we got. These are just the highlights. I did obviously buy more, as Mrs. Papergoy so lovingly knows. This over here I ended up picking up, and the reason why, and we mentioned it any number of times, flag covers always sell. So if you see something like this, nice colorful flag cover, make sure you pick it up. I paid a couple of bucks for it. I'm sure it'll go for $20, $25, something or other like that, and it will sell because of the flag cover. Another thing actually to be on the look for that does sell is chiropractic. A lot of people like the chiropractic stuff. It's one of the few medical areas that regularly will sell. So pick up the chiropractic stuff when you're out there, especially when it's got free stuff inside that I didn't even know was in there. There you go. Something I didn't even know was in there. Bonus. Keeping with the flag theory over here, nice little calendar with the flag. It's from 1942, and it's got the full pad down below. You can sell this because of the graphics. You can sell it because it was during the war, or you can sell it to anybody from Kingston, New York, because of the Schwenk's enriched bread. So this kind of thing over here, I picked up as one of the $100 deals, probably a $25 to $40 piece right over here. So I'm a third of the way out of the deal just with this one item. These used to be fairly cheap back in the day. Liberty Boys of 76, all these different series, they were put out for kids to read week after week after week. They were a weekly type series. These used to go for a couple of bucks a piece. Nowadays, the price on these has actually gone up, and it's around $8 to $10 an issue. I kind of will put this away in my collection for now. That being said, if you see one like this, just kind of know that the baseline price on them is $8 to $10 a piece. There may be some better titles, or maybe some better authors, that sort of thing. But when you see this kind of thing, just know that it's an $8 to $10 piece just by itself for one. You usually tend to find a bunch of them together. 1839 Almanac. I know I've pointed out before how almanacs actually do sell up there from 1900 or pre-1900. This is 1839. Obviously, you pick up things that early when you see them when they're at reasonable prices. Another nice thing that will sell, always be on the lookout for victory gardens. It was the idea that you could plant a garden at home, and that puts less stress on the overall economy because the farmers don't have to grow all the food for you because you have some food, and then food can go to the military, etc., etc. So you would build a garden in order to help out in the war effort. People do collect victory garden things. Always do be on the lookout. That is something that always jumps out at me when I see it. As long as it's nice shape, pick up the Victory Garden things. We always love catalogs, and this was $5, and I've never really seen a taxidermy supplies catalog before. I didn't really look at it, I just picked it up. Just judging by the graphics, it's probably 1930s or so. And there's the price tag right there, it tells you what I paid. With lots of neat little tools and all that for the taxidermy trade. It's just an oddball enough catalog that you're going to want to pick something other like this up. This was very interesting. The guy had this, a whole pile of it, and I said, this feels like wallpaper, and he goes, I think this is wallpaper. So it's some kind of a Japanese motif wallpaper samples. I don't really know how I'm going to sell it, but this was part of the $100 deal, and I know with this many of them, I mean, they're wallpaper samples, they don't take up a lot of room, so you got an awful lot of them in there. I'm just going to have to figure out a little bit about if I can figure the era out or anything like that, and then just list them one after another. They should list pretty quickly, and they're just beautiful graphics on these. So something other like this, when you're able to pick up a pile like that for the price being right, definitely do so. A couple of other quick things. This was a one-off kind of deal. I saw this, gentleman wanted $10 on it. Hammond's subway system map in New York City, unfortunately has a little bit of a tear right there, as you can see. It is dated 1917, and it'll go all the way out. He wanted $10. I paid that on it. I did a little bit of research on the phone on the way home, and it actually, somebody has one of these up for $200 on eBay. I would think it's a $75 to $100 piece anyway. Subway stuff is always very, very popular. Last few things over here. These are really neat, but really hard to list. Motion Picture Herald. These were sent out, I believe, to the people that own movie theaters, trying to get them to, for the recent movies coming out and all that. And they've got great advertisements inside and everything, and the movies coming out. The downside, there we are, 10 Commandments. The downside is you have to go through each one in order to find out what is important in them. So these are pretty heavy listing as far as just the amount of research you need to do. These do not just list quickly. But you put the work in, you can definitely get the money out of it. You just want to take lots and lots of pictures of the things inside of it as well. But you see these out there, do pick them up, but be prepared to spend some time listing them. These always sell. I know I've shown things like this selling before. Fallout protection, early 1960s nuclear war, that sort of thing. These things always sell. These booklets go for $10, $15 a piece, and you can find them out there regularly from the Office of Civil Defense. This is actually the perfect item for Etsy. It is Norman Rockwell cover, Boy's Life 1952. This would be something or other I would put over on Etsy. I would also show a picture here of the back cover here with Coca-Cola. You should be able to get $15 to $20 out of something or other like this over there. Boy's Life, generally speaking, unless you're going back to the teens, is not a particularly good magazine to pick up. That being said, do cherry pick a cover like this over here because you will be able to sell that one. Last couple of things over here. 19th Redfield Old Home Week. Again, this ties into what I have said in about 75 different Bolo videos. Pick up local items. Now, this is not local to Rochester, but it's local to Redfield. So people in Redfield will want this. I don't see a 1935 date on it. You'll be able to sell something or other like this. Ask 20, 25 bucks on it, you'll be able to sell it. It may take time, but you'll be able to sell that. Another one over here, cherry pick these. The guy had a whole bunch of magazines, and I didn't really want to deal with a lot of the magazines. However, he had Natalie Wood who sells, James Dean who sells, Elvis Presley who sells. That is a loaded cover right there, along with some people over here in the back, including Marilyn Monroe who sells. So this is a loaded magazine right here. And then this one over here, Beetle Color Pinups. Beetle stuff still does sell. It's not as popular as it was, but it still does sell. So you definitely, when you do see a pile of these, I mean, he was only asking $2 a piece. I probably could have bought all the magazines and done okay. But I didn't feel like carrying them, to be quite honest with you. So I cherry picked the two best ones. Nice old map over here. Date on this over here, it was from the 1783 map. And the gentleman wanted $2 on it. Every once in a while you can cherry pick something like this out of there, 140 years old. Great little map, and actually it's 240, I gotta learn how to do math. Oneida, New York. ties into what I had said before about the various local things. People in Oneida will want this. I've got to figure out a little more about what these exactly are. There's some kind of posters, like wanted posters kind of deal. Really interesting items. Like, for instance, this boy over here, 1936, went missing. At the time the boy left home, he had some small change with him. There is no reason why he should leave, as his home surroundings were congenial. However, he was a very serious student and may have had a breakdown due to this condition. And just kind of interesting. And then this one over here, I actually felt bad for Arthur here. Right underneath his name, it says poor mentally. It's absolutely crazy the way that they were saying on this. He's got poor eyesight and hearing. He had a fractured skull 4 years ago. Just really interesting pieces of Americana right over here. And then the last item, and this is something that I got to do a lot of research before I list, but a print that they wanted $2 on. And then I got it home. I could tell by looking at it that it was old. And sometimes you get the feel for things, and you would pick something other like this up. A little more research. It actually has a date down there, 1603. Now that's a nice old piece right over here, over 400 years old. Don't really know the value. I reached out to a friend of mine that knows this sort of thing to find out what to price it out at. But it's kind of interesting holding a piece of history like this in your hand. When you pay a couple of dollars for it, you know you cannot go wrong. And there were a lot of other good things that I purchased as well. But it was a fun little show. Fair amount of stuff we brought home this time. Got to get the stuff listed, of course, because we have to get the money out of it. But hopefully you like that. Hopefully you like the footage from the show. Was a lot of fun out there. I'll be going out there again in August, so I'll be bringing you some more footage for it. And do hit the like button, and we will see you next video.